So the first step to getting loans is to clarify for sure that you need a loan, because there may be other options. Maybe I can get a scholarship or a grant. And also, it's important to make sure that what I'm going to spend the money on is something that I definitely need. So if it's a purchase that I can defer a little and maybe get a car next year or something, then that could be a good choice financially. But if you do know that you need a loan, the first step is really to go to your financial aid advisor. They're the ones that do what we call packaging, so they are able to look at what the student is eligible for and to help the student receive the financial aid. Also, generally before students come to school, they will have filled out their FAFSA at fafsa.ed.gov, or they will have filled out the California DREAM Act application at dream.csac.ca.gov. And then once the loan has been offered to the student will need to do what's called entrance counseling and their promissory note. That entrance counseling is online, and it will explain everything that they need to know about that particular loan. And then the promissory note is the loan contract, because it is legally binding, and so that has to be signed online as well. The financial aid office is limited in the amount of aid that they can give, and that's based on the family income or the individual's income. It's also based on the type of aid. However, one thing that many students ask is, if the financial aid officer offered me $2,000 and I only need $1,500, can I accept less? And absolutely you can. So when you go in for the first time on my.ucsc to accept your loan, you can change the amount and accept less. For many people, all their loans are actually going to be visible on the National Student Loan Data Service. So they can go to nslds.ed.gov, like Nancy, Samantha, Lollipop, David, Samantha.ed.gov. Or you can also look at studentaid.gov, studentaid.gov. However, a note of caution, there are two kinds of loans that are not going to be visible on either of those websites, and that would be your university loan or a DREAM loan. So if you have one of those loans, or if you're not sure, you could check your my.ucsc portal, or you could also just contact financial aid. You could call them, or you could call Student Business Services, and we will be able to confirm what aid you got. The direct loans are repaid to a direct loan servicer, and the Perkins loans are repaid to UCSC's servicer. So we have our own loan servicer that's called Heartland ECSI. So their website is heartland.ecsi.net. heartland.ecsi.net. So you may be thinking, I've got my direct loans here in one place and my Perkins loan in another place. Can I combine them? You can. It's called consolidation. Consolidation means to put together. And so that is the only way to pay your direct loans and your Perkins all in one place with one company, one schedule. I think it's a lot easier for many people, and consolidation is free. So if you wanted to consolidate, you would go to studentloans.gov. just studentloans.gov. Unfortunately, no. So the university loan is a separate kind of animal, and that's just owed to UC Santa Cruz. It is repaid on Heartland ECSI, and it will always have to be repaid with Heartland ECSI for the life of the loan. Basically, subsidized, it's like if you've heard of government subsidy. So that means that the government takes care of that interest or covers that interest while the student is in school, while they're in grace period, which you can learn about your grace period online, and also while the student is in a deferment, which is also important. So basically, subsidized loans are good. They have this extra bonus of having interest subsidized in a certain period of time. But if it's unsubsidized, then that means that the interest starts accruing from the beginning, as soon as that loan is taken out. So people are in school and their loan's actually accruing interest if it's an unsubsidized loan. And for that reason, if you are able to make any payments on your loans while you're in school, the unsubsidized loan is the one that you'll want to pay. So that happens where, again, we have somebody they say, I'm paying Navient, or I'm paying Nelnet, I'm paying Great Lakes, or I'm paying Fed loans, or Fed loan servicing it's called. Those are our top 4 servicers, but they're for direct loans. So people often get confused. They think they're taking care of their loans, but if they have a Perkins or a university loan, it's separate. So basically, if you think that you may have forgotten some of your loans, give a call to Student Business Services, or you can call ECSI if you think you have a university loan or a Perkins loan. And ECSI's phone number is 1-888-549-3274. First of all, contacting my loan servicer depends on what kind of loan that I have. So if I have a direct loan, so if you see something that says subsidized, unsubsidized, maybe it says Stafford, then it's a direct loan. So direct loans, I will want to repay to the federal government, and it will be with one of the federal government servicers. So if I want to figure out who my direct loan servicer is, I can go to that National Student Loan Data Service again. So it's nslds.ed.gov, or I can go to studentaid.gov and I'll see who my direct loan servicer is. Now, for other loans, if I have a Perkins, a university, or a Dream loan, those are all held by UC Santa Cruz, and so they will be serviced by our servicer, Heartland ECSI. So again, you could call Heartland ECSI, or you could go to their website. No payments are actually due while I'm in school. However, if I can make any payments while I'm in school, I'm going to reduce the amount of interest that I pay over time. I should add that when I say in school, it needs to be at least half time. So unfortunately, if I'm just taking one class, I won't be considered in school according to loan standards. Now, for my unsubsidized loans, those are the ones where my interest starts to accrue right away for those unsubsidized loans. So I do want to pay back those if I can. And the other thing about unsubsidized loans is that if I manage to pay a little bit into my loan while I'm in school, I'm going to keep some of that interest from capitalizing. So that means that on an unsubsidized loan, the interest actually gets added to the principal when the student leaves school. And the interest is calculated off of the principal. So basically, if I don't pay on my unsubsidized loans while I'm in school, then I'm going to have some additional interest. If you are in school somewhere else, please tell us. Please tell UCSC if you have a Dream Loan, a Perkins, or a university loan, and please tell your direct loan servicer. So basically, you are welcome to have what's called an in-school deferment, and you won't need to pay on those loans. But unfortunately, we're not psychic, so we don't know if you're in school somewhere else. And so either you give us a call or submit an in-school deferment form, and that way you won't have to pay on your loans while you're in school somewhere else. If I don't pay back my loans, there are a lot of different ramifications, unfortunately, about a lot of different things that happen. So, for example, if the payments are more than 30 days late, and this is in general, if I owe payments on a credit card, or if I owe payments to an electric company or something, if it starts to be 30 days late, I'm going to get a negative remark on my credit history. So my credit score starts to go down. And then if my credit score is low, then that might affect my ability to rent an apartment, to get a car, to buy a house, even to get a credit card. They might not allow me to if my credit isn't high enough, my credit score. The great news that I really want people to remember is that they have lots of options. So student loans are special. They're not like other loans. They have what's called deferment and forbearance. And basically, if you know you're past due on your loan, just call your servicer, and they'll tell you about your options. If you catch it early enough, you may be able to put in a deferment retroactively, or forbearance retroactively. And basically what that means is it just puts a pause on your payments, and you're entitled to, say, for example, up to 3 years of pressing the pause button for a little while. If I miss a payment, I do want to contact my servicer right away and see if I can use deferment or forbearance. Or I could make a larger payment to catch up if I realize, ooh, I'm a little behind. Maybe I just need to pay $200 and catch up. Another thing I want to mention is that if I miss a payment because I can't really afford it, there are what's called income-based loan plans, income-based repayment plans. And those are through the direct loan servicer. Those plans can be so helpful to many, many students and many, many people when they begin their repayment, especially when they're starting their career and it's hard to get full-time work, or it's hard to get work at all. And so an income-based plan is going to base your monthly payment off of your income. So if your income is 0, your payment will be 0. And if your income is low, they might say, you know what, you only need to pay us $20 this month. Whereas if you were on like a standard plan, it might be, $200, $300, or even $400, depending on how much you borrow. The the interest rate is used to calculate how much interest is added every month. So say, for example, if I have a Perkins loan, then my interest rate is going to be 5%, and they're actually going to add whatever my principal is, they multiply that by 0.05 and add that every month to my loan. So if I don't touch my loan, if I never pay on it, it's going to get bigger and bigger. Loan forgiveness is wonderful for those who are eligible. For Perkins loans, there are a lot of what we call cancellation options, and those are based on people's career choice. So if you think that you might want to be a nurse, a med tech, a K through 12 teacher, a child and family service employee, which is pretty vague, so you can imagine there are a lot of careers that might fit that description. Also, there's cancellation for early intervention, like preschool, also for law enforcement, correction officers, public defenders, if you're a lawyer, active duty military, but you have to be in an area of hostility, so that's very specific. Also for firefighters. Also, if you're faculty at a tribal college, there is cancellation on the Perkins. Also for librarians, speech pathologists, and AmeriCorps Vista members. So if you're interested in AmeriCorps and you can get a Vista, that's a certain kind of AmeriCorps position, then you'll be eligible for Perkins cancellation. And also Peace Corps, in addition to the AmeriCorps Vista. Now, those cancellation forms would be submitted to Heartland ECSI, because again, it's a Perkins, so it's the UCSC servicer. And then there is another kind of forgiveness. If you don't have a Perkins, but you have direct loans, there's a program that's called the 10-year public service loan forgiveness. And so that program is actually very broad. It's for people who work for a state organization or a federal organization. It could be local government, or it could be a nonprofit. And there are so many nonprofits out there. So that means that a lot of people actually qualify for the 10-year public service loan forgiveness. You do have to be working full-time in order to do that, and it does require that the person makes actually 120 payments. So that's 10 years worth of payments. And what happens is it's a direct loan, so you can select an income-based plan. So if you if you make an income-based plan over 10 years, income-based payments over 10 years, then at the end of those 10 years, they forgive what remains. So basically, this 10-year public service loan forgiveness is for people who have big loans. Maybe if you have $30,000, $40,000 and you don't think you'll be making too much, or you just know you're working for a nonprofit, that could work for you and save you money.